Our next recipient is Marcos Rangel, Associate Professor in the Sanford School of Public Policy, and he will be introduced by Marwa Al-Fakri, a PhD student in economics in the Sanford School of Public Policy.
Find good mentors. That's the advice I and probably most of you got when we were all coming to graduate school. So when I first started at Duke, I thought to myself, not really sure what that looks like, but I'm going to be on the lookout for it. I'm sure I'll recognize it when I see it. And when I met Marcos and got to know him, he was just right there, crystal clear. It's the generosity, the intellectual generosity, it's the tireless commitment to student success, it's the unconditional support, and the okay sense of humor, at least, occasionally. But most importantly, it's empathy. Marcos has been there to lend a sympathetic ear and a helpful hand to his students over the years. It's when one of us is feeling anxious about coursework and meeting degree requirements, frustrated with the research process, dealing with rejection, mourning the loss of loved ones, or when we're feeling homesick and we're just missing our home countries and holidays with the family. Marcos, I speak for myself and many others when I say we're all so incredibly fortunate to have you, to have met you, learned economics from you, and been mentored by you. Thank you for all of it. But above all else, thank you for setting such a great example for what excellent mentorship looks like. I aspire to one day be a fraction of how great of a mentor you've been to all of us. So it is my honor and privilege to introduce my great mentor, Dr. Marcos Rangel.
Thank you so much, Mara. This is so emotional. It's very kind words. Thank you so much. Aaron, you set up a tough act to follow, definitely. So let me try to make sure that I hit some points that I saved in my mind today. This is not normal for me. I'm always thinking what is coming next. So to spend some time looking back to make sure that I acknowledge those that have helped me to understand and have taught me how to help others, it's very important. Let me start though with my family. Alessandra, my wife, Tobias and Rebecca, my kids, you are amazing people. You take care of me. You respect my crazy choice for my time use and the amount of time I dedicate to my work. And you see the value of it, and you are part of the team, and it's a very important part of the team. So I really, really appreciate, I love you very much with all my heart. Like Aaron, I think I need to emphasize that what I received during my life was a lot of good advice, and I met very important people that changed the course of maybe changed my destiny of sorts. Growing up in a chicken farm with parents that did not go to college. My dad stopped in 4th grade. My mom finished high school. But never crossed my mind that I would get where I am now, and was just by meeting the right people at the right time that does happen. I want to make sure that I cite a few names. They are not here, but I like citing their names anyway. So when I went to college, leaving the countryside of Brazil and going to Rio de Janeiro, I met people like Dionisio Carneiro and Afonso Bevilacqua that were very important and pushed me to pursue an academic, or saw in me some spark of academic interest, and they pushed me to pursue that and pursue studies abroad. And without their support, that will never have happened. Afonso is a particular interesting one because Afonso made sure that he was calling me every month I was at UCLA and checking if everything was okay and if I'm still hanging in there. And that made a difference. And when I got my first job after grad school, headed to the University of Chicago, he made sure he called me to say, what a long way you came from a chicken farm to get where you are now. You should be proud of yourself because I truly am. And that meant a lot. That really meant a lot. The other people that I need to emphasize that I'm actually very fortunate to have now as colleagues at Duke that were members of my committee back at UCLA are Joe Hotz and Duncan Thomas. They were very influential on the career choices that I had while in grad school. In particular, let me emphasize my primary advisor, Duncan Thomas. Duncan sets a very impressive example on how to deal with students and the amount of dedication you put to the improvement of the individuals he interacts with. It's a tough act to follow, but it's also a perfect example to pursue what I pursue when I deal with my own students. If there's anything he needs to get better at, is really understanding that when I compliment and thank him, that he should be acknowledge that and not put the barrier over it that he normally does. But I'm hopeful that he's still going to learn when I say thank you with my full heart. After all, I think he sets, this is really the example that I try to follow when I deal with my students. Now, I'm going to wrap up by thanking my students. I think as Aaron mentioned earlier, this is a two-way street. And I cannot I cannot imagine myself or my profession without my interaction with my students. They keep me alive intellectually. It's when they come to a discussion about the topics of interest, their courses or their research, is when I feel mostly alive in my career at Duke and other institutions that I was before. So it's very key to me. And I get an award, but the ones getting an award should be you, because you keep me strong and moving forward, and that's very important to me. I want to mention in particular one student that's not amongst us today. I want to mention Gabrielle Kunya, who passed away doing his PhD studies. He was a very smart and dedicated and great human being. And he would be graduating this year. I miss him. His family misses him. But they know that he's more than a PhD in my book. So it was a great experience to interact with him. And I hope my students do feel that I see them as human beings, and that's very important to me. Sorry about that. I want to close by thanking my colleagues and leadership at Stanford and Duke, because the most effective way of conducting mentorship and teaching is really as a collective endeavor. And we cannot do this well if we don't do this as a team, understanding that we are doing the best we can to the progress of our students. So let me wrap up saying thank you so very much. I'm truly honored for being nominated by my students, for receiving this award. And I'm truly happy for having left that chicken farm behind. Thank you very much.